Very good morning, students. Today our lecture is on Denturebase and occlusalrims. Okay. So basically we have definition. When you take a topic, we have definition. What are the requirements? What are the indications, contraindications, and manipulation? And what are the methods to use it? Okay. In this, we're going to first see is the definition. Basically, definition you need to divide it into few parts. Okay. To remember it easily, you don't need to mark it up. You just remember the few sentences in that. Okay. First, you should know what is denture base. In the denture base, as the name suggests, it is acts as a base. Okay, to hold the what you're going to place occlusalrim over that. Okay, so we're going to hold the occlusalrim. It acts as a base. And what are the materials it should be used? There can be shellac, there can be wax, there can be thermoplastic polymers like heat, chemical, or light activated polymers. Okay, and it should be relatively thin, not too thick, not too thick. Okay, it should be rigid. Okay, it should be rigid and should made up of greater thin sheet of wax, shellac, thermoplastic polymers over the edentulous surface of the cast. Where I want to make on the cast. Okay, so it's what is the definition. It should be rigid and materials and should be made on the cast. It forms as a base and which is to be attached over the occlusal. Okay, as simple as that. Just remember in the form of little sentences or words. Okay, only to mug it up. So next is the what are the criteria for denture bases? As we know, it should be stable on the mouth and on the cast. Okay, and it should be easily removed from the cast. Before that, it should be well adapted and accurately formed to the final cast. First thing, it should be well adapted and it should be stable. After adapting, it should be stable and it should be easily removed. After placing, it should be easily removed. After removing, what you have to check? You check for the voids and for the thickness and for the round end borders. Okay, these are the minimum criteria you should have in a denture base. So what are the materials can be used for making the record bases or denture bases? It should usually basically divided into two types, that is temporary and permanent. For temporary, we have autopolymerizing resin, that is chemically cured resin, as we all know shellac based plate, okay, and vacuum formed vinyl or polyester sheets. Okay, then we have a basic wax, that is base plate or modeling wax. Okay, these are the temporary materials. Why? Because it's called as temporary. Once you going into heat, once you heat these, it will get deformed. Likewise, the permanent will not occur. The permanent will also withstand the temperature. So that is why it is called as permanent. For example, heat activated, heat cure, gold, cobalt chromium, and nickel chromium. Okay, so these are the materials used for record bases. So what are the methods you used? Sorry, we use for denture bases is spring. This is for temporary denture base. That is your acrylic part of your resin. Okay. First thing is be sprinkle-on method, which you are doing in the lab. Sprinkle-on method, finger application also called as Dow method. Then we have flasking. Then we have stone mold. Both are flasking and stone mold will be almost same. Okay. Then will be the wax confined method. These are the different methods for adapting denture base. That is the manipulation. Okay. In which sprinkle-on methods, any undercuts before starting with any methods of fabrication, you should check for the undercuts. If there is any undercuts or any roughness on the cast, you need to remove it. Okay. And then before that, you need to apply cold mold seal for a easy removal of the denture base. Okay. You have to apply the cold mold seal and then go for a salt and pepper technique. That is powder and liquid. You'll be sprinkling on the cast with the powder and liquid in a syringe. Okay. Then comes the finger adapted method, that is also called as Dow method. That is we mix before. We'll mix it prefabricatedly. Like we'll be mixing in a jar that preheated into a dough stage. Then you adapt it onto the master cast. Before adapting, you have to apply the cold mold seal for easy removal. Never forget this step. Okay. Stone mold method. What this method is? First you have a master cast. Okay, you adapt the wax according to the thickness of the denture base, that is 2 mm. You adapt the wax, then you place the holes on the land area. Okay, for the easy removal. Okay, then you do the boxing. How we do for second impression? You do the boxing, then you pour the cast over above that. Okay, then you have the two casts. Right, you have two casts. One is the cast and one is the what we do in the plastic to get the mold of that. And in between this, do the cold mold seal. Then you do the Dow method of denture base. Do it and then press it and then close it with the rubber band. Tightly close it with the rubber band. After it gets set, so around 20 minutes, then you remove it, then you get the final denture base. Now you need to go back and trim and polish it. Okay, this is the stone mold method. So wax confined method is given by Lever and Freda in the year of 1974. It's nothing but using wax and your cold cure at the same time. Okay? You just adapt the wax and then use the wax and then place the your cold cure and then press it on the cast. So you get the wax and denture base at the same time. Okay. So next is the shellac. That is the ancient method is the shellac base plate. We have a shellac material. Go back and read about the composition and properties of the shellac. Okay, you just adapt it, place it on the heat, and then you just need to, it gets softened, you just adapt it over the cast and cut the excess. Okay, and the disadvantage of the shellac base plate is very brittle. You keep on breaking the shellac base plate. So it is very brittle material. That's why we're going into a acrylic resin, which is quite strong. Next, coming to the thermoplastic resin, that is a vacuum. We need a vacuum machine for that. This is one of the simplest method, but the machine and the sheet will be somewhat costly. Okay, it's a very simple and easy method. Just take a vacuum machine, take a cast, have a thermoplastic sheet of 2 mm thickness, place it over the cast, and just you need to press it over the machine should come and press over the cast and the sheet, so that you will get the shape of the cast. Okay, it is a very simple method, but it is quite costly. Next is the wax base plate. Nothing but is the simple wax. You just soften the wax and place it over the master cast and just remove the excess. That is remove the excess from the borders. That's it. It is a simple method, but it's not stable. Okay, it's not a stable material for denture base. Next, coming to the fluid resin base plate. That is Browning in 1973, given by Browning. It's nothing but like a injection molding technique. You just place it over the flask, and then you have 2 holes. In that you need to inject the material. That is self-cure denture base material. So then you will get the cast. See, they're pouring it inside the 2 holes. Okay. Next is coming to there is about the temporary denture bases. So next, coming to the permanent denture bases, like heat cure, okay, compression molded resin base plate. In this, you should not block out the cast, so that will give a extra retention for your denture base. Okay, first you have the same way like stone mold method. First you need to adapt the wax over the cast, then you place the cast over the flask, you flask it, then the wax will be eliminated through a dewaxing technique. Then the processed base is removed from the cast, smoothened and polished at the borders. In between, you have to place the denture base. The same like the stone mold method, but you're using in the flask. Okay, but it's time consumers, so you can't do in an immediate procedure. So other methods are like metal denture bases, one of the strongest material as a denture base, and also it will be thin. Even it is thin, it will be very strong. Okay, and it will be very accurate. It's biologically acceptable. Okay. Metal denture bases. These are the metal denture bases, like designs, maxilla and mandibular metal denture bases design. Where all should cover, where all should not cover, where all should be relieved, all these things. Okay. In maxilla, it should be covering in the palate and the crest of the ridge. Same way in the mandible, palate in the crest of the ridge. Okay, complete coverage, except in the retromolar pad area. This is about the denture bases. Then coming to the occlusal rims, it will be adapted over the denture bases. Okay, definition is nothing but the to obtain the maxillomandibular relationship. Okay, that is the first point. To obtain the maxillomandibular relationship, we are doing this occlusal rims. You should be uploading surfaces fabricated on the interim or final denture bases for the purpose of making maxillomandibular relation records and arranging teeth. These are the 2 uses. Just remember the uses. You can just write the definition. Okay. Uploaded on base, it has been uploading surfaces fabricated over the temporary or permanent denture bases, and the purpose is for making the maximum relationship and to do the teeth arrangement. That's it. Okay. So what are the requirements for occlusal rims? Occlusal rim should be anticipated in the position of the artificial teeth. Wherever you're going to place the artificial, it should be anticipated before that, and you have to place the occlusalrim accordingly. That's why we used to keep on telling that occlusalrim is very important step for everything in a complete denture. Okay, if that is proper, everything will be perfect. Okay, it should be arranged over the crest of the ridge. According to the arch form, only you have to place the occlusalrim. That is why you place the teeth over that. Okay, for that you should anticipate the artificial teeth position. Then it must be securely attached to the base. It should not come out once you remove from the patient's mouth. The occlusalrim should not come because you'll be holding the occlusalrim. So once you're holding and removing the denture base from the patient's mouth, it should be securely attached to the base. It should not be like flaking off. Okay. And the occlusal surface, as we know, it should be smooth and flat. It should not be irregular surface. Should not be there on the occlusal. Okay. And it should be contoured to support the lip and the cheeks. Okay. It's a very important step in the maximum relationship. First step is that contour according to the occlusalrim, that is support the lips and the cheeks. Okay. And the all surface should be smooth. These are the requirements for occlusalrim. So coming to the measurements of occlusalrim's maxillary height should be, anterior height should be of 20 to 22 mm. Okay. Then posterior height should be of 16 to 18 mm. Anterior width should be of 3 to 5, and the premolar region is 5 to 7, and the molar region should be 8 to 10. And next, coming to the angulation of the maxillaris, it should be 15 degree. Based on the many studies, natural teeth, according to the natural teeth arrangement, it is angulated towards 15 degrees. So that's why we are placing the angulation of the maxillary occlusum as 15 degrees. Okay, the occlusum is properly sealed to the base plate without any voids. So these are the requirements of the maxillary arch. Occlusum. Coming to the mandibular arch, same like mandibular height. Anterior height should be 16 to 18 mm, and the posterior height should be, always remember, at the junction of anterior 2/3 and posterior 1/3 of the retromolar pad. Okay, the anterior 2/3, here is the retromolar pad. It should be anterior to, you draw the two lines and divide into anterior, middle, and posterior. Okay, so it should be at the junction of anterior 2/3 and posterior 1/3 of the retromolar pad. This is the posterior height definition. Coming to the angulation, anterior angulation, it should be of 90 degree. Okay, it should be of 90 degree. These are the images which I said should be depicting the occlusal dimensions. So all these campus line, occlusal line, you will read in detail in the next year. Okay. So what are the occlusal rims just available is, we have in the sheets, modeling wax available in the sheets. You have to do a roll-on technique. Okay, you will roll it and place it on the cast. That is a roll-on technique, that is handmade. Other one is the ready-made occlusal rims are available like this of sheets, like full form of record basis available in a preformed. Okay, like in a horseshoe shape, you just place it and you need to reduce it accordingly. And this is the handmade, which I already said is applied. It has been supplied in a sheets form, and you need to roll it according to the measurements we need, and then you just adapt it over the denture base. Okay. Thank you so much. If you have any doubt, you can ask me now. Thank you.